Opening story, why discipline wins every single morning. Somewhere in the world, two babies are born at the exact same moment. One may be gifted with what we call natural talent, while the other might seem ordinary at first glance. But here's a truth I've witnessed time and time again over the past 40 years of watching people succeed and fail. That so-called ordinary baby, armed with discipline, often grows up to live an extraordinary life. I remember sitting in a small diner in Idaho, watching a young waitress move effortlessly through the morning rush. She remembered every order without writing them down, coordinating the chaos like a symphony conductor. Someone complimented her, saying, "You must be naturally good at this." She smiled and replied with something that stopped me in my tracks. "6 months ago, I could barely carry 2 plates. I practiced every night in my apartment, balancing water-filled glasses for 3 hours." Talent is like a sleek sports car. Impressive to look at, great for showing off, but completely useless without fuel in the tank. And discipline? Discipline is the gas station that never closes. It's always there, 24/7, ready to power your journey, whether you feel like stopping or not. Most people spend their lives admiring the sports cars of others, pointing and saying, "If only I had their talent," but they overlook a fundamental truth that has been evident since the beginning of time. Discipline is the great equalizer. It's the force that transforms the average into the exceptional, dreams into reality. Talent without discipline is like having $1 million locked away in a bank account you can't access. What good is it? But discipline, it's different. It's like a single penny that doubles every day. At first it seems small, almost insignificant, but give it 30 days and watch what happens. The beauty of discipline is that it doesn't play favorites. It doesn't care where you were born, what your last name is, or how many natural gifts you think you lack. Discipline asks only one question: are you willing to show up? Today, tomorrow, and the day after that, the most successful people I've met all share one common trait. It's not talent, it's not intelligence, it's not even luck. It's their unwavering commitment to doing what needs to be done, especially when they don't feel like doing it. That is discipline in its purest form. And here's what most people misunderstand about discipline. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about being just a little better today than you were yesterday. Because while talent might give you a head start, discipline is what ensures you finish the race. I believe we're standing at the edge of something profound. We're about to explore why the most talented people don't always win, and why the most disciplined people rarely lose. Because in the end, discipline isn't just about surpassing talent. It's about becoming the person who truly deserves success. The truth about natural talent, we've built a fairy tale around talent. We see someone playing the piano effortlessly and say, "Oh, they're so talented." We watch an athlete shatter a record and whisper, "They're just naturally gifted." But let me tell you something I learned the hard way. We're watching the performance, but we're missing the rehearsal. I'll never forget a young man I met in Chicago years ago. In his company, everyone called him a natural at sales, praised for his gift in closing deals. One evening after a business meeting, I found him sitting alone in the conference room. Do you know what he was doing? He was practicing responses to customer objections. This so-called natural had filled 5 notebooks with different scenarios and replies. He had been doing this every evening for 3 years. That's when it hit me. What we label as talent is often just the result of countless hours of unseen work. The myth of natural talent is one of the most expensive lies we've ever sold ourselves. It's costly because it steals our power. It's costly because it convinces us that success is something you're born with rather than something you earn. The truth about talent roots discipline society loves talent because it makes a great story. Saying someone was born with it makes for a better headline than admitting they worked at it for 10 hours. But here's the problem with believing in natural talent. It's like believing in magic. It's entertaining, but it won't help you build a life. I've spent decades watching people succeed and fail, and I've noticed something fascinating. Those who believe in talent often quit when things get tough. Why? Because they assume if it doesn't come naturally, they're not meant for it. But those who believe in discipline, they just keep showing up. They understand that mastery isn't inherited, it's earned. Let me share something that completely shifted my perspective. I used to think some people were just born organized, born punctual, born successful. But when I looked closer, I realized the most organized person I knew spent 30 minutes every evening planning the next day. The most punctual, they set every clock 10 minutes ahead. The most successful, they worked while others watched TV. Talent has an expiration date. Without discipline, it spoils like milk left in the sun. I've seen incredibly talented people hit their ceiling because they rely too much on natural ability. Meanwhile, I've watched seemingly average individuals surpass them through sheer consistency and effort. Why talent can work against you. Ironically, talent can sometimes hold you back. When things come easily, you don't develop the emotional strength needed for tough times. You don't learn how to push through difficulty. You don't build resilience. But discipline, it's like a loyal friend, showing up every day, teaching you those crucial lessons whether you want them or not. The world is full of talented failures and disciplined successes. Every city has them. The naturally gifted student who never learned to study, now stuck in a job they hate, while their average classmate who studied every day runs a successful company. The talented athlete who skipped practice, now watching from the sidelines as their less gifted teammate who never missed a session plays in the big leagues. What we often call talent is just discipline in disguise. And the best part? Discipline is available to everyone. You might not control your natural abilities, but you can absolutely choose what time you wake up. You can choose to read instead of watching TV. You can choose to practice when others relax. The moment you stop worrying about talent and start focusing on discipline, something incredible happens. You take back control. Because talent determines where you start, but discipline determines where you finish. And I don't know about you, but I care far more about where someone finishes than where they start. The misconception about success. Most people misunderstand success. They expect massive, dramatic changes overnight, but that's not how it works. That's never how it has worked. How small actions lead to big results. Let me show you a simple mathematical concept that changed my life. If you improve by just 1% each day, not 365% better by the end of the year, but 37 times better. That's the power of compound improvement. Something discipline provides that talent never will. Take two people. One is naturally talented, but only improves 0.1% daily because they rely on their innate ability. The other has average talent, but improves 1% daily through sheer discipline. At first, the difference is barely noticeable. The talented person remains ahead, but by day 100, day 200, the disciplined individual pulls so far ahead that the gap is unrecognizable. This is the mathematics of daily action, the power of daily momentum. Every single day, you're either building momentum or losing it. There's no standing still. Life doesn't have a pause button. I once met a businessman in Seattle who built a $50 million company. Someone asked him how he did it. They expected a complex strategy or a breakthrough innovation. Instead, he simply said, I made 10 sales calls every day, never 9, never 11, just 10 every single day for 20 years. That's discipline, that's mathematics. Read 10 pages of a good book daily, and in a year you've read 3,650 pages, about 18 books. In 5 years, that's 90 books. Now imagine sitting in an interview next to someone who hasn't read a single book since college. Who has the edge? Save $5 a day, invest it at 8% interest, and in 20 years, you'll have over $100,000. That's not talent, that's not genius, that's just discipline plus mathematics. But here's the thing, the mathematics of discipline also works in reverse. Skip your workout today, no big deal. Skip it for a week, you still look the same. Skip it for a year, suddenly you don't recognize yourself in the mirror. Excuses don't matter. The numbers keep adding up, either in your favor or against you. Success leaves clues. Look at the patterns of the most successful people and you'll find the same simple formulas. Write 500 words a day. That's a novel in 4 months. Do 5 push-ups every morning. That's 1,825 push-ups. A year. Learn 1 new word daily. That's a college-level vocabulary in 3 years. Talent is like a one-time deposit in a bank account. But discipline is compound interest. It grows exponentially year after year, and just like investing, the earliest deposits yield the greatest returns. The price of discipline versus the price of regret. Everything in life has a price tag, but here's the catch. You don't get to choose whether to pay a price. You only choose which price to pay, the price of discipline or the price of regret. I learned this lesson in a way I'll never forget. Years ago, I sat in a small Chicago office with one of my early mentors. He had built something extraordinary from nothing. I was complaining about how hard it was to stay consistent, how much I had to sacrifice. Discipline versus regret, the hard truth. My mentor placed 2 folders on his desk. "Take a look," he said. The first folder contained his daily schedule for the past 20 years. Up at 5 a.m., exercise, reading, planning, working, learning. The second folder, his bank statements, showing how he went from nearly bankrupt to financially free. These 2 folders, he said, show the price of discipline. Then he looked at me and asked, "Would you like to see the price of regret? Visit any nursing home and ask people what they wish they'd done differently." That hit me like a ton of bricks. Discipline costs ounces. Regret costs tons. The price of discipline, you pay in ounces. The price of regret, you pay in tons. The price of discipline is waking up an hour earlier when your bed feels so comfortable. The price of regret, looking back at a decade of wasted mornings, missed opportunities, and unfulfilled potential. The price of discipline is saying no to that extra slice of pizza, that extra hour of TV, that impulse purchase. The price of regret, carrying 50 extra pounds at your daughter's wedding, having nothing meaningful to show for your free time, working into your 70s because you never saved. Most people focus on what discipline costs them today, but they never ask themselves, can I afford not to? I can't afford to invest $100 a month, but can you afford not to? I don't have time to exercise, but do you have time to be sick? People look at the price of discipline and think it's too high without ever looking at the price tag on regret. The price of regret keeps going up. The price of discipline goes down. I've noticed something over the years. The price of discipline gets lower over time. The habits that once felt like torture become automatic. But the price of regret, it just keeps rising. It compounds like bad debt at a horrible interest rate. Here's the kicker. Discipline has a refund policy. Every sacrifice you make today, every comfort you delay, every hard choice you make, it comes back multiplied. But regret has no refunds. There are no do-overs on. Time wasted, opportunities missed, potential unfulfilled. I once asked my mentor what he considered his greatest achievement. I expected him to say his business success or his wealth. You know what he said? The fact that I can look in the mirror every morning and know I'm not living a life of what if. He paid the price of discipline willingly, daily, consistently, and that's the thing. You can't pay both. Every time you pay the price of discipline, you're avoiding the price of regret. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you're choosing regret later. Where will you be in 20 years? 20 years from now, you will arrive. The question is where? 2 people stand in the same place today. One pays the price of discipline, the other pays the price of regret. In 20 years, they're living in 2 completely different worlds. What I'm about to share next is the architecture of achievement, the 5 fundamental pillars of unshakable discipline. Because after watching thousands of lives transform, I've learned that discipline rests on 5 key foundations. Miss any one of them and the whole structure collapses. And it all starts with your morning routine. Because the most common lie people tell themselves is, I'll do it later. But disciplined people, they don't negotiate with their future. The 5 pillars of success, 1. Mornings. Own them or be owned by them. You can't control your morning, you can't control your life. Win the morning, win the day. It's that simple. But here's the secret. Winning the morning starts the night before. You have to decide, are you going to be the kind of person who runs their day or the kind who lets their day run them? 2. Goals. It's about who you become. Most people think goals are about the end result. They're wrong. Goals aren't about achieving something. They're about becoming someone. The goal isn't to write a book. The goal is to become a writer. The goal isn't to build a business. The goal is to become an entrepreneur. When you set a goal, you're really saying, this is the person I commit to being. 3. Environment, willpower versus smart design. Most people try to use willpower to fight against their environment. That's like trying to swim upstream. It's possible, but it's exhausting. Smart people, They design their environment so it carries them toward their goals. Want to read more? Put books everywhere and hide the TV remote. Want to eat healthier? Stock your kitchen with real food and get rid of the junk. Your environment will always win against your willpower. I remember visiting a friend's office years ago, one of the most productive people I knew. I noticed his desk faced away from the window. Too many distractions, he said. That's environment design. He wasn't trying to be more disciplined about not looking out the window. He simply removed the temptation. 4, the accountability. The key to consistency. Discipline isn't a solo sport. The most disciplined people I know, they all have someone watching. They all have someone they answer to. Why? Because we'll often let ourselves down before we let someone else down. That's why people hire personal trainers when they already know how to exercise. It's not about knowledge, it's about the appointment, the commitment to another person, the investment. Excuses don't survive accountability. When your excuses have to face another person's scrutiny, they usually fall apart. Recovery. Rest is part of the plan. Discipline isn't about being on all the time. It's about being on at the right time. The most disciplined people I know, they're also the best at resting because they understand something most people don't. Recovery isn't a break from discipline. It is discipline. Imagine chopping wood. You can't just keep swinging the axe forever. At some point, you have to sharpen the blade. That's what planned recovery does. But here's the key. Recovery must be planned, not random. It's not about collapsing on the couch when you're exhausted. It's about strategically recharging so you can perform at your peak. The 5 pillars work together. Your morning routine feeds into your goals. Your goals determine how you design your environment. Your environment supports your accountability. Your accountability ensures you maintain recovery practices. Miss one, and the whole structure becomes wobbly. But here's the truth. You don't need special talents. You don't need advantages. You don't need permission. You just need to understand these principles and apply them every day. The biggest excuse, I'm just not talented enough. This is my favorite excuse because it sounds so reasonable. It even sounds humble. But let me tell you something powerful. Talent is the excuse used by the uncommitted to explain away other people's success. The mathematics of discipline, small actions, big results. Let me show you a simple mathematical concept that changed my life. If you improve by just 1% each day, a tiny effort compounded over time, where will you be in a year? Not merely 365% better, but 37 times better. That's the power of consistent improvement. This is what discipline provides. Something talent alone never will. Take 2 individuals, one with exceptional talent who improves by only 0.1% daily, relying on natural ability, and another with average skills who commits to a 1% daily improvement through sheer dedication. In the first few months, the difference is minor, but as days turn into months and months into years, the gap becomes insurmountable. Discipline isn't just about hard work, it's about understanding the numbers behind daily actions. Each day, you're either building momentum or losing it. There's no pause button in life. I once met a successful entrepreneur who built a $50 million company. When asked about his strategy, people expected a complex blueprint. His response? I made 10 sales calls every day. Never 9, never 11, just 10. Every single day for 20 years. That's discipline. That's mathematics. Consider this, reading just 10 pages of a good book daily adds up to 3,650 pages a year, equivalent to around 18 books annually. Over 5 years, 90 books. Now imagine competing for a job against someone who hasn't read a single book since college. Who do you think has the edge? The same principle applies to finance. Saving $5 daily and investing it at an 8% annual return would grow to over $100,000 in 20 years. It's not magic, it's discipline and mathematics working together. But this formula works in reverse too. Skip the gym today and nothing changes. Skip it for a week and it's barely noticeable. Skip it for a year, you become a different person. Physically and mentally. Mathematics doesn't care about excuses, it just multiplies your actions, whether positive or negative. Discipline, versus regret. The hard truth, I once had a mentor who illustrated the difference between discipline and regret in a way I'll never forget. He showed me 2 folders, one containing his daily routine spanning 20 years. 5 a.m. wake-ups, workouts, reading, planning, and executing. The second is bank statements, showcasing his journey from near bankruptcy to financial independence. He looked at me and said, "These folders show the price of discipline. Would you like to see the price of regret? Visit any nursing home and ask what they wish they had done differently." That moment changed my perspective. Regret always costs more than discipline. The price of discipline? Waking up an hour earlier when you'd rather stay in bed. The price of regret? Looking back on decades of wasted mornings and missed opportunities. The price of discipline? Saying no to unnecessary indulgences. The price of regret? Realizing too late that small decisions compounded into major consequences. Most people focus on what discipline costs them today, but rarely ask themselves, can I afford not to? The reality is, discipline becomes easier over time. The habits that once felt like a struggle become second nature, but regret, it compounds like bad debt, growing heavier each year. The best part? Discipline has a refund policy. Every sacrifice today, every comfort delayed, returns multiplied. Regret? No refunds, no second chances. Years later, I asked my mentor about his greatest achievement. His answer? Not his wealth, not his success. It was knowing he didn't live a life filled with what if. The 5 pillars of success. After studying successful individuals, I've identified 5 key pillars that build unshakable discipline. Miss any one, and the foundation weakens. 1. Mastering your mornings. Discipline begins with owning your mornings. If you can't control your morning, you can't control your life. Win the morning, win the day. But winning the morning starts the night before. Are you running your day, or is your day running you? 2. Goals. Focus on identity, not outcomes. Most people set goals as end results, but that's not their real purpose. Goals shape identity. The goal isn't to write a book, it's to become a writer. The goal isn't to build a business, it's to become an entrepreneur. Every goal is a commitment to who you want to become. 3. Environment. Shape it to work for you. Most people try to fight their environment with willpower. That's like swimming upstream, exhausting and unsustainable. Instead, design your surroundings to support your goals. Want to read more? Place books in every room and hide the TV remote. Want to eat healthier? Stock your kitchen with the right foods and remove temptations. Your environment always beats willpower. 4. Accountability. The hidden superpower. Discipline isn't a solo journey. The most disciplined people have someone watching. This is why people hire personal trainers, even when they already know how to exercise. Accountability removes excuses because your actions must face external scrutiny. Most excuses don't survive that. 5. Recovery. Discipline includes rest. Being disciplined doesn't mean working 24/7. It means knowing when to recover. Think of an axe. You can't keep chopping forever. At some point you need to sharpen the blade, but recovery must be planned, not reactive. It's not about collapsing from exhaustion, it's about structured recharging. The choice is yours. Your morning routine feeds into your goals shape your environment reinforces accountability, your accountability ensures you recover properly. Miss one and the whole system weakens. You don't need natural talent, advantages, or permission. You just need to understand these principles and apply them day after day. And if you're thinking, I'm just not talented enough, let me remind you, talent is the excuse of the uncommitted. A warm blanket, comfortable yet restrictive. It keeps you cozy, but it also holds you back. At some point, you have to choose your comfort or your growth. What separates dreamers from achievers? A system. Pure and simple. After decades of observing transformations, one thing is clear. 90 days is where the magic happens. Not a year, not a month, 90 days. Why? Because it's long enough to see real change, but short enough to maintain urgency. In a 90-day window, there's no room for procrastination or self-deception. The clock is always ticking. Here's how it works. Take notes. First, choose one area, just one. Most people fail because they try to change everything at once. It's like chasing 5 rabbits simultaneously, you'll catch none. Identify your focus. Maybe it's health, business, or relationships. Whatever it is, pick one. Next, define what success looks like using numbers, not vague intentions. Goals like get better or improve won't cut it. Be specific. If it's health, how many pounds? If it's business, how many sales? If it's relationships, how many meaningful conversations per week? Numbers don't lie. They provide clarity, free from emotions, showing exactly where you stand. The 90-day framework follows a clear structure. The first 30 days are about laying the foundation. Most people quit here because they don't see results. But results aren't the goal yet. You're building the system that will generate them. The second 30 days bring momentum. The habits that felt impossible at first now feel natural. You're no longer fighting yourself, you're in sync. The final 30 days, that's when transformation becomes visible. That's when people start noticing and asking what's changed. This is where the compound effect of daily discipline shows up. In the mirror, your bank account, and your relationships. And I once worked with a man committed to improving his health. Every day for 90 days, he took a photo, same time, same place, same pose. The first 30 days, hardly any change. Day 60, small but noticeable shifts. By day 90, he was unrecognizable, even to himself. The lesson? What gets measured gets managed. If you're not tracking, you're guessing. And guessing isn't a strategy. Keep a log, write it down, track your progress, not because numbers matter more than the journey, but because they confirm whether you're on the right path. Right now, in this very moment, you're making a decision, even if you don't realize it. You're choosing between staying the same and changing. That choice will shape every tomorrow that follows. Place your hand over your heart. Feel that? That's not just a heartbeat, it's time passing. Every beat marks another moment, another opportunity. Your heart will beat roughly 103,000 times today, whether you take action or stand still. Time moves forward regardless. Most people wait for motivation, expecting it to strike like lightning. But disciplined individuals know motivation isn't the cause, it's the result. It comes from taking action, not waiting for inspiration. They don't wait to feel ready, they get ready by starting. So here's what I want you to do. Take out a piece of paper, actual sheet, not your phone. Write down one thing, just one, that you'll do differently tomorrow. Not next week, not next month, tomorrow. Make it small enough that failure is impossible, yet meaningful enough to matter. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier, making 5 sales calls before lunch, or reading 10 pages of a book. Or whatever it is, write it down, because written goals have a way of becoming reality. Then take one more step. Tell someone, not everyone, just someone who cares about your success. Share your commitment and ask them to check in with you, not next month, tomorrow. Everything we've discussed today, the myth of talent, the discipline equation, the sacrifices we make, the structures we build, the excuses we conquer, the transformation process, it all comes down to this moment, this choice, this commitment. 10 years from now, you'll arrive somewhere. The only question is, will you be living with the rewards of discipline or the consequences of regret? Will you be left wondering, what if, or knowing I did? The choice is yours, it always has been. Talent may determine your starting point, but discipline determines your destination. Remember this, the pain of discipline weighs ounces, while the pain of regret weighs tons. Every day, you're deciding which one to carry. So let me ask you one final time, what will it be? Will you continue living like most people, hoping that talent and luck will somehow transform your life? Or will you join the few who understand that disciplined action, taken daily, is the only path to lasting change? The decision is yours, and your life will reflect it. Thank you.